The massive space station called Harmony Prime floated in the empty space between star systems. It was built for meetings like this one. The station had no weapons and belonged to no single race. Here, enemies could talk without fear of attack. Ambassador. Marcus Kane walked through the long corridors toward the main meeting room. His black suit was simple and clean. His gray hair was neat. He carried only a small datapad in his hands. Behind him walked 2 human guards, but they stayed outside. When he entered the room, the meeting room was huge. A circular table sat in the center with chairs made for different alien body types. 12 alien representatives were already seated. They had been waiting for him. Commander Drex of the Vuric Empire sat directly across from the human chair. His reptilian skin was dark green with yellow markings. His eyes were cold and calculating. He had been attacking human ships for 2 years now. Next to him sat Queen Nira of the Hive. Her insect-like body was covered in black armor. Her 4 arms moved constantly as she spoke in clicking sounds to her advisors. Other aliens filled the remaining seats. The blue-skinned Aquari had gills that moved slowly as they breathed. The tall Fin Stellari had silver skin that seemed to glow. The rock-like Terran sat perfectly still. Each race had been testing human defenses for the past 3 years. Marcus took his seat. The room became quiet. "Thank you all for coming," Marcus said. His voice was calm and steady. "Earth has called this meeting to discuss the ongoing attacks on human colonies and ships." Drex laughed. It was a harsh sound that filled the room. "Attacks? We call them training exercises. Your people make excellent practice targets." Several other aliens made sounds of agreement. Queen Nira clicked her mandibles together. "Humans are new to space. You need to learn your place. We are simply teaching you." Marcus nodded slowly. He opened his datapad and read from it. "In the past 3 years, your combined forces have destroyed 47 human ships. You have killed over 8,000 human civilians. You have captured and enslaved 300 more. You have destroyed 6 mining stations and 2 research outposts." "Numbers," said Vel, the Aquari representative. His voice bubbled through his breathing apparatus. "Every new species pays the price of learning. Consider it a tax for entering our galaxy." Marcus looked up from his datapad. His brown eyes moved from one alien to another. "Earth has tried diplomacy. We have offered trade agreements. We have shared our technology. We have sent gifts and cultural exchanges. Each time, you have responded with violence. Because you are weak," Drex said, leaning forward. "Your ships run when we attack. Your colonies surrender without fighting. Your people cry for help instead of fighting back. This galaxy belongs to the strong." The Stellary representative Zin spoke in a voice like wind chimes. "Perhaps humans should return to their single world. Space is dangerous for creatures who cannot defend themselves." Marcus closed his datapad. He placed both hands flat on the table. "That brings me to why I called this meeting. Earth's government has authorized me to deliver a final message. More empty threats?" Queen Nira clicked. "More promises of retaliation that never come?" Marcus stood up slowly. The room became very quiet. Even the aliens stopped moving. "Earth officially demands that all hostile actions against human targets cease immediately. You have 30 standard days to comply with this demand." Drex laughed again. "Or what? You will file another complaint with the Galactic Council? You will send another strongly worded message?" Marcus did not smile. He did not raise his voice. He spoke in the same calm tone he had used all along. "Or we will stop being civilized." The room erupted in laughter. Drex slammed his clawed hand on the table. Queen Nira made a sound like breaking glass. Even the quiet Terrans rumbled with amusement. "Civilized?" Vel bubbled. "You think civilization is a choice? You think you can simply decide to be uncivilized?" Marcus waited for the laughter to die down. When the room was quiet again, he spoke. Every human child learns about our history. We know what we were before we chose to be better. We know what we are capable of when we stop holding back. Zin made the wind chime sound again. You speak of your past as if it were frightening. But you have shown us nothing but weakness since you reached the stars. That is correct, Marcus said. We have shown you our civilized face. We have tried to be the neighbors we would want to have. But civilization is not weakness. It is a choice we make every day. Commander Drex stood up. His full height was impressive, nearly 8 feet tall. His claws extended as he pointed at Marcus. You want to threaten us? A single species against 12? You have, what, maybe 100 warships. We have thousands. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are toys compared to ours. Marcus picked up his datapad. 30 days. Commander Drex, that is how long you have to stop all attacks on human targets. And if we refuse? Queen Nira asked. Marcus looked directly at her. Then you will learn why humans call themselves humanity. You will understand what we were before we decided to be civilized. And you will discover that some choices, once made, cannot be undone. The aliens began talking among themselves in their various languages. The sounds mixed together, clicks, hisses, bubbles, and musical tones. They were not taking the threat seriously. Drex turned back to Marcus. Let me make something clear, human. In 30 days, we will not stop our attacks. We will increase them. We will show this galaxy that humans are prey, not predators. That is your choice, Marcus said. He walked toward the door. But I want you to remember this moment. I want you to remember that Earth tried to solve this peacefully. We offered friendship. We offered cooperation. We warned you with words before we spoke with actions. He stopped at the door and turned back. 30 days. As Marcus left the room, the aliens continued their discussions. They were already planning their next attacks. They would target human colonies during the 30-day period. They would show the galaxy that human threats meant nothing. None of them noticed that Marcus had left his datapad on the table. None of them thought to check if it contained more than just casualty numbers. None of them wondered why a human diplomat would come alone to face 12 hostile species with nothing but words. They had 30 days to attack human targets. They planned to use every one of them. They had no idea that somewhere in human space, other people were making very different plans. Plans that had been in development since the first alien ship had fired on the first human vessel. Plans that would change the galaxy forever. Day 3 after the meeting on Harmony Prime, the mining station on Kepler 442b was just finishing its morning shift when the Vorik ships appeared. Station manager Tom Wells was drinking his coffee in the control room when the alarm started screaming. Unknown vessels approaching, his assistant Kate called out. 3 Vorik destroyers coming in fast. Tom set down his coffee cup. His hands were steady, but his heart was racing. Send the evacuation signal. Get everyone to the escape pods. The first Vorik blast hit the main power core. The lights went out across the station. Emergency power kicked in, casting everything in red light. Through the windows, Tom could see the Vorik ships circling like predators. They're jamming our communications, Kate said. I can't send a distress call. The second blast tore through the living quarters. The station shook like it was breaking apart. Tom grabbed Kate's arm. We need to go, now. They ran through corridors filled with smoke and sparks. Other miners were running toward the escape pod bays. Children were crying. Adults were shouting names of missing friends. Tom reached the pod bay just as the third blast hit. The explosion threw him against the wall. When he looked up, he saw that half the escape pods had been destroyed. The remaining pods launched into space. Tom's pod had 15 people inside. Through the small window, He watched the mining station explode in a ball of fire. 3,000 people had lived and worked there. Now most of them were dead. Day 7 after the meeting. Captain Alex Moore commanded the passenger transport, Safe Harbor. His ship carried 400 families moving to the new colony on Ross 128. They were farmers, teachers, doctors, and engineers. They were building a new life among the stars. The hive ships came out of nowhere. One moment the space around them was empty. The next moment, 20 insect-like vessels surrounded the transport. "This is Captain Moore of the human transport Safe Harbor," Alex said into his radio. "We are a civilian vessel carrying families. We are not armed." The response came in the clicking language of the hive. Then a mechanical voice translated, "Human vessel, you will prepare for boarding. Resistance will result in death." Alex looked at his crew. His first officer, Maria, was young and scared. His engineer, Bob, was an old man who had never seen combat. None of them were soldiers. "Captain," Maria whispered, "what do we do?" Alex thought about the 400 families in the passenger sections. He thought about the children playing in the recreation areas. He thought about the pregnant women in the medical bay. "We comply," he said. "We protect the passengers." The hive soldiers came aboard, wearing armor that looked like beetle shells. They moved through the ship with weapons raised. They separated the humans into groups. Adults in one area, children in another. The hive commander spoke through her translator. "You are now property of the hive. You will work for us until you die. Your children will be raised to serve us." Captain Moore stepped forward. "These people are civilians. They have done nothing wrong." The commander struck him across the face with her weapon. Alex fell to the floor, blood running from his nose. "You have no rights," the commander said. "You are cattle now." Day 12 after the meeting. Admiral Rosa Torres stood in the secure conference room deep inside Earth's military headquarters. Around the table sat the most powerful people in human space. General William Blake commanded the Earth Defense Force. Director Jennifer Hayes ran Special Operations. Fleet Commander David Park controlled the space fleets. "The attacks are getting worse," General Blake said. He pulled up a holographic display showing recent incidents. The Varrock destroyed the mining station on Kepler 442b. The hive captured the transport Safe Harbor. The Aquari sank 3 of our cargo ships. Every day brings new attacks. Director Hayes leaned forward. "The other alien species are joining in now. They see it as sport. They're competing to see who can kill the most." "Humans." Admiral Torres looked at each person around the table. "How long until we're ready?" Fleet Commander Park checked his datapad. "All units are responding to the recall order. We should have 90% of our forces back within 2 weeks." "And the colonies?" Torres asked. "Evacuation is proceeding. Under the cover of routine relocations," Director Hayes said. "The civilians think it's a normal population shift. They don't know what's coming." General Blake activated another holographic display. This one showed locations throughout human space. Protocol Omega is fully activated. Every Black Ops team is returning. Every intelligence operative is coming home. Every Special Forces unit is withdrawing. Admiral Torres stood up and walked to the large window that showed Earth below. "Gentlemen, lady, we are about to cross a line that can never be uncrossed. For 3 years, we have shown these alien species our civilized face. We have tried diplomacy. We have offered friendship. They have responded with murder." She turned back to face the table. "In 18 days, that ends. In 18 days, they will learn what humans become when we stop choosing to be civilized." Director Hayes spoke quietly. "Admiral, once we do this, there's no going back. The galaxy will never see us the same way again." "Good," Torres said. "Maybe then they'll leave us alone." Day 15 after the meeting. Lieutenant Sarah Kim sat in her stealth. reconnaissance ship at the edge of Varak space. Her job was to watch and report. She had been doing it for 2 years, gathering intelligence on alien military capabilities. Today was different. Today, she received new orders. All human military personnel, the message said, are to withdraw to designated rally points immediately. Operation Homecoming is in effect. Do not engage the enemy. Do not reveal your positions. Return to base with all intelligence gathered. Sarah looked at her sensor displays. 3 Varek fleets were moving toward human space. They thought they were hunting helpless prey. She activated her ship's stealth systems and began the journey home. As she flew, she passed other human ships doing the same thing. Warships, spy vessels, research ships, and cargo haulers, all heading back to human space. To anyone watching, it would look like humanity was retreating. It would look like they were giving up. Sarah knew better. She had seen the secret files. She knew what was hidden in the asteroid belt around Earth. She knew what was buried on the dark side of the moon. Humanity wasn't retreating. They were gathering day 20 after the meeting. Captain James Wright commanded the human cruiser Determination. His ship had been patrolling the border between human and Stellari space for 6 months. Now he had orders to return to Earth immediately. "Sir," his navigation officer said, "we're receiving multiple distress calls from human colonies. The Stellari are attacking civilian targets." James looked at the tactical display. Stellari ships were bombarding a small research station. The humans there had no weapons to defend themselves. "Sir, should we respond?" his weapons officer asked. James wanted to fight. Every instinct told him to protect those people. But his orders were clear. "No," he said. "Set course for Earth. Maximum speed." As the Determination jumped to faster-than-light travel, James watched the research station disappear behind them. He knew the people there would probably die, but he also knew why he had to leave them. In 10 days, every alien species in the galaxy would understand why. Day 25. After the meeting, the alien attacks reached their peak. Varak ships destroyed 2 more mining operations. The Hive captured another transport full of families. A quarry. Submarines attacked underwater human cities. Stellari vessels bombed research stations. Terran ships crushed human freighters with their massive stone hulls. Across human space, colonies went dark. Ships disappeared. Distress calls went unanswered. To the alien species, it looked like total victory. The humans seemed to have given up completely. But in secure facilities across Earth's solar system, other preparations were being made. Ancient bunkers were opening. Weapons that had been hidden for decades were coming online. Ships that had been disguised as cargo haulers were revealing their true nature. And in the darkness between stars, human fleets were taking positions around every major alien system. The countdown continued. 5 days remained. Day 29 after the meeting, Captain Lisa Park commanded the stealth reconnaissance ship Nightfall. Her vessel was invisible to most sensors, designed for deep space observation. For the past week, she had been watching something that made her blood run cold. Earth's moon was glowing, not with reflected sunlight, but with energy signatures that her instruments could barely measure. Massive power sources were coming online beneath the lunar surface. Things that had been hidden for decades were waking up. "Captain," her sensor officer Jake said, "I'm reading similar energy patterns from Mars and from the asteroid belt. It's like the entire solar system is charging up." Lisa stared at her displays. The numbers didn't make sense. The power readings were off the charts. Whatever was hidden in those locations had enough energy to power entire star systems. "How long have these installations been there?" she asked. Jake checked his historical data. "According to the records, they're mining operations and research stations." "But Captain, no mining operation needs this much power." Lisa opened a secure Channel to Earth Command. This is Nightfall requesting clarification on current lunar operations. The response came immediately. Nightfall, you are to maintain observation position and report any alien fleet movements. Do not investigate Earth facilities. That is a direct order. Lisa closed the channel. She looked back at her sensor readings. Whatever was happening in the solar system, it was bigger than anything she had ever seen. Jake, how many human ships have returned to Earth in the past 2 weeks? All of them, Captain. Every military vessel, every research ship, every intelligence operative. It's like we're pulling back from the entire galaxy. Lisa nodded slowly, or getting ready for something. Day 29, Varik Command Ship, Bloodhunter. Commander Drex stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at tactical displays showing human space. For the past week, there had been no human military activity anywhere in the galaxy. Report, he ordered his intelligence officer. All human fleets have withdrawn to Earth's solar system, the officer said. Their colonies are barely defended. Their trade routes are empty. It appears they are surrendering. Drex smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Excellent. Today we will launch the final assault. We will show the galaxy that humans are weak prey animals. His communications officer looked up from her station. Sir, we're receiving attack confirmations from all allied fleets. The Hive, the Aquari, the Stellari, and the Terrans are all ready to strike human targets simultaneously. Perfect, Drex said. Today we finish what we started 3 years ago. But one of his younger officers seemed nervous. Sir, doesn't it seem strange that they've all withdrawn? Why would they leave their colonies defenseless? Drex turned to face the young officer. Because they are cowards. They would rather hide on their home world than fight for what they built. The young officer didn't look convinced, but he said, Nothing more. Day 29. Hive Fleet Alpha. Queen Nira floated in her command chamber, surrounded by her warrior drones. Her 4 arms moved constantly as she planned the final assault on human space. The human transport routes are completely empty, her scout reported. No military escorts, no patrol ships, nothing. They have abandoned their own people, Nira clicked. This makes our harvest easier. Her tactical officer brought up a holographic display. Queen, our spies report that all human military forces have returned to Earth. They appear to be massing for a final defensive battle. Nira made a sound like breaking glass, which was how her species laughed. 1 planet against 12 empires? They will not last a day. But her eldest advisor, an ancient drone named Kex, moved closer to the Queen. Your Majesty, in my 300 years of service, I have never seen a military force withdraw completely unless they were planning something. What could they possibly be planning? Nira asked. They have shown us nothing but weakness for 3 years. Kex's antennae twitched nervously. Perhaps that was intentional. Day 29, Human Colony Ship, New Hope. Captain Ben Rodriguez sat in his command chair, watching his scanners with growing alarm. His ship was carrying the last group of evacuees from the outer colonies. Officially, it was a routine population transfer. Unofficially, Ben knew something. Big was coming. Captain, his first officer Nancy called out, I'm detecting multiple alien fleets moving toward human space. Varik, Hive, Aquari, all of them. Ben looked at the tactical display. Dozens of alien ships were converging on human territories from all directions. It was the largest coordinated attack in galactic history. How long until they reached the colonies? He asked. 6 hours for the first wave, Nancy replied. Sir, shouldn't we warn the people still there? Ben checked his sealed orders. The red envelope was marked Open Only in Emergency. This seemed like an emergency. Inside the envelope was a single message. All human civilians will be safely evacuated. Before hostile contact, trust the plan. Do not break communication silence. Ben looked up at Nancy. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. But Captain, the people in the colonies will be fine, Ben said, hoping he was right. Day 29. Earth Defense Command. Admiral Torres stood in the main command center, watching displays that showed the entire galaxy. Red markers indicated incoming alien fleets. Blue markers showed human positions. All human forces are in position, Fleet Commander Park reported. Every ship, every operative, every asset is exactly where we need them. And the colonies? Torres asked. Evacuation complete, Director Hayes said. The last transport cleared 30 minutes ago. All human civilians are safe. General Blake pointed to the tactical display. The alien fleets will reach the first colonies in 5 hours. They think they're going to find helpless targets. Torres nodded. Instead, they're going to find empty buildings and a very unpleasant surprise. She activated the base-wide communication system. All personnel. This is Admiral Torres. Tomorrow is day 30. Tomorrow, we stop being civilized. Day 29, Stealth Ship Shadow Walker. Lieutenant Mike Chun floated in space at the edge of Varric territory. His ship was completely invisible, hidden among the debris of an old asteroid field. He had been watching Varric fleet movements for 6 months. Today was different. Today, his sensors detected something that made him double-check his readings. Human ships, lots of them, thought they were hiding in the outer system, beyond the range of Varric sensors. Ships he had never seen before. Vessels that didn't appear on any official registry. They were dark, silent, and waiting. Mike counted over 50 ships just in this one location. According to his database, these ships didn't exist. He opened a secure channel. Command, this is Shadow Walker. I'm detecting unregistered human vessels in Varric space. Please confirm. The response was immediate. Shadow Walker, maintain position and prepare for combat operations. Do not reveal yourself until you receive the activation signal. Mike felt his heart racing. Combat operations? Against the entire Varric fleet? Affirmative. You have 18 hours to final activation. Mike looked at his sensors again. The hidden human ships were armed with weapons he didn't recognize. They carried energy signatures that exceeded anything in the official databases. Command, how long? Have these ships been here? Since the first Varric attack 3 years ago. We've been watching and waiting. Day 29. Aquari Deep Space Station. Admiral Tidewalker commanded the Aquari battle fleet from his underwater base. His gills moved slowly as he breathed the thick liquid that filled his command chamber. The human presence in our territory has completely disappeared, his sonar operator reported. No ships, no spy drones, nothing. Good, Tidewalker bubbled. Tomorrow we will crush their underwater colonies. The humans will learn to fear the depths. But his deep scan operator was reading something strange. Admiral, I'm detecting unusual current patterns near our outer system. Something large is moving in the deep void. Tidewalker swam closer to the display. Define large. Multiple contacts. Sir, at least 40 vessels, possibly more. They're running silent, but their mass is disturbing local space. Impossible, Tidewalker said. No human ships could penetrate our detection grid. The operator checked his instruments again. Sir, these aren't showing up on any of our standard sensors. I'm only detecting them through gravitational analysis. Tidewalker felt a chill run through his liquid environment. Ships that could hide from Aquari sensors were supposed to be impossible. Continue monitoring, he ordered. If they're human vessels, they'll reveal themselves when they attack. Then we will destroy them. But deep in his command chamber, Admiral. Tidewalker wondered how the humans had learned to build invisible ships. Day 29, 23:59 hours. Across the galaxy, alien fleets prepared for their final assault on human space. They expected to find defenseless colonies and fleeing civilian ships. Instead, They were about to discover that humanity had been preparing for this moment since the first alien ship had fired on the first human vessel. Tomorrow was day 30. Tomorrow, the aliens would learn what humans meant by civilized. Day 30, 6 o'clock hours. The human colony of New Geneva had been humanity's greatest achievement. 50,000 people lived on the carefully terraformed world. They had built cities, farms, schools, and hospitals. Children had been born there who had never seen Earth. Commander Drex looked at the peaceful planet through his ship's viewscreen. No defenses, no military presence, no resistance. "Begin the bombardment," he ordered. The Varak fleet opened fire. Massive energy beams struck the planet's surface. Cities disappeared in flashes of light. The terraforming stations exploded. The orbital platforms crumbled into space dust. In 30 minutes, New Geneva was gone. 50,000 human civilians died without ever knowing why. Drex smiled. "Send the recordings to all human frequencies. Let them see what happens to those who challenge the Varak Empire." Day 30, 8 o'clock hours. Every communication device in human space received the same transmission. Videos of New Geneva being destroyed. Images of human cities burning. Recordings of civilians screaming as they died. Admiral Torres watched the footage in silence. Around her, the command staff stood frozen. General Blake's hands were clenched into fists. Director Hayes had tears in her eyes. 50,000 people, Fleet Commander Park whispered. "Gone." Torres closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, something had changed. The careful diplomat was gone. The civilized leader had disappeared. "Activate all channels," she said quietly. "Ma'am?" The communications officer asked. "I said activate all channels. Every frequency, every network, every communication system. In the galaxy, I want every living being to hear this." The officer's hands moved across his console. "All channels active, Admiral." Torres stood in front of the main camera. She wore a simple military uniform with no decorations. Her gray hair was pulled back. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with cold fire. "I am Fleet Admiral Rebecca Stone of the United Earth Defense Force. I am speaking to every alien government, every military commander, and every civilian in this galaxy." Her voice was soft, almost gentle, but it carried to every corner of known space. 30 days ago, Ambassador Kane delivered a simple message. "Stop attacking human civilians, or we would stop being civilized." You chose to ignore that warning. She paused, letting her words sink in. 2 hours ago, the Varak Empire murdered 50,000 innocent human civilians on New Geneva. Men, women, and children who had never harmed anyone. They died because you wanted to test our resolve. Admiral Stone stepped closer to the camera. "For 3 years, we tried to be your friends. We offered trade, culture, and peace. You responded with murder. You thought our restraint was weakness. You thought our diplomacy was fear." Her voice remained calm, but something terrible was building behind her words. "You were wrong." She reached for something off camera and held up a small device. "This is a military authorization key. For 3 years, I have chosen not to use it. I have chosen to give you chances to be better. I have chosen to hope that we could coexist peacefully." She looked directly into the camera. "That choice ends now." Admiral Stone inserted the key into a console. Red lights began flashing throughout the command center. "Every alien species that has attacked human targets will now receive an education. You wanted to see what humans become when we stop being civilized. Consider this your first lesson." The transmission ended. Day 30, 8:05 hours. "Commander." Drex was celebrating his victory over New Geneva when his sensor officer screamed. "Sir, contact." Multiple contacts decloaking around our fleet. Drex spun toward the tactical display. Where empty space had been moments before. dozens of human ships now appeared. But these weren't the simple vessels they had been fighting for 3 years. These ships were massive. Their hulls were black and covered in weapons. Energy readings were off the charts. Impossible, Drex breathed. Where did they come from? Sir, they were already here. They've been hiding around our fleet for hours, maybe days. The lead human ship opened a communication channel. The voice that came through was cold and mechanical. Varek vessels, you have 30 seconds to surrender unconditionally. This is your only warning. Drex laughed, but the sound was nervous now. You're outnumbered 3-1. We have the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. 20 seconds. Drex looked at his tactical officer. Fire everything. Destroy them. The Varek fleet opened fire with their most powerful weapons. Energy beams that could crack planets struck the human ships. The human vessels didn't even slow down. 10 seconds. Drex watched in horror as his most powerful weapons simply bounced off the human hulls. It was like firing water balloons at a mountain. 5 seconds. Impossible, Drex screamed. Nothing can withstand our weapons. Time's up. Day 30, 8-10 hours. Across 37 star systems, the same scene repeated itself. Hidden human fleets revealed themselves around alien military forces. Ships that had been invisible for days, weeks, or even months suddenly appeared in hive space. Queen Nera watched in disbelief as human vessels materialized around her swarm. Her warriors fired their bioweapons, but the human ships absorbed. The attacks without damage. In Aquari territory, Admiral Tidewalker's sonar screens filled with contacts that shouldn't exist. Human submarines rose from ocean trenches where they had been hiding for months. In Stellari space, the silver-skinned aliens discovered that their captured asteroids were actually human weapon platforms in disguise. The pattern was the same, everywhere. The aliens had thought they were hunting humans. Instead, they had been surrounded by human forces for years. Day 30, 8:15 hours. The human attack began simultaneously across all 37 systems. But it wasn't the kind of attack the aliens expected. The humans didn't target planets or civilians. They didn't destroy cities or kill innocents. Instead, they surgically destroyed every military asset the aliens possessed. Varek warships simply vanished under focused energy beams. Hive battle swarms were torn apart by weapons that seemed to eat matter itself. Aquari submarines imploded under pressure waves that turned water into a weapon. The aliens quickly discovered that their technology was useless. Human ships moved faster than anything they had seen. Human weapons cut through the strongest armor like it was paper. Human defenses made their ships invulnerable. In 15 minutes, the military might of 12 alien empires was reduced to floating scrap metal. Day 30, 8:30 hours. Commander Drex floated in a damaged escape pod, watching the remains of his fleet drift past. His mighty warships were gone. His soldiers were dead or captured. His empire's military force had been destroyed in minutes. A human rescue ship approached his pod. A voice came over his radio. Commander Drex, this is Captain Miller of the Human Vessel Retribution. You are now a prisoner of war. Do not attempt to resist, or you will be destroyed. Drex had no weapons left to resist with. Day 30, 9 hours. Queen Nera's command ship was the last hive vessel still intact. She watched human forces surrounding her position. Her warriors were gone. Her swarm was destroyed. A human communication came through. Queen Nera, you have one chance to surrender. Lay down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Nera's pride demanded that she fight to the death, but her survival instincts were stronger. I surrender, she clicked into her transmitter. Day 30. 10 hours. Admiral Stone's voice once again filled every communication channel in the galaxy. The lesson is complete. In 2 hours, we have systematically destroyed the military capacity of every species that chose to attack human civilians. Your warships are gone. Your weapons are destroyed. Your military leaders are our prisoners. She paused, letting the scope of human victory sink in. But we are not monsters. We did not target your civilians. We did not destroy your worlds. We could have, but we chose not to. Her voice became harder. This is what humans mean by civilization. We have the power to destroy you completely, but we choose restraint. We could have wiped out your species, but we chose mercy. Another pause. But understand this, that choice is optional. Attack any human target again, and we will show you what we become when we stop choosing mercy. The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. Day 32. Varek Homeworld. Commander Drek sat in a small room aboard the human ship Justice. Through the window, he could see his homeworld below. Varek Prime looked the same as always, but everything had changed. The door opened, and Admiral Stone entered. She looked older than in her broadcasts, but her eyes still held that cold fire. "Commander," she said, sitting across from him, "your government has requested your release. They want to negotiate." Drex looked at her with confusion. "You're letting me go?" "We're letting all military prisoners return to their homes," Stone said. "You have families. You have lives. We're not going to take that away from you." "But we killed your people," Drex said quietly. "We destroyed your cities. We murdered your children." Stone nodded. "Yes, you did. And now you understand the price of that choice." She stood up. "Your government will receive our terms within the hour. I suggest you advise them to accept." Day 33. Hive Collective. Queen Nira floated in her royal chamber, surrounded by the few advisors who had survived the human attack. Her swarm was gone. Her warriors were dead. Her military might had been reduced to nothing. "The humans have sent their terms," her communications drone reported. Nira's antennae twitched nervously. "What do they demand? Our surrender? Our territory? Our lives? They want us to stop all hostile actions against any species. They want us to release all prisoners. They want us to pay compensation for damages. That's all?" Nira asked. "They also offer to help us rebuild our military. They say they will train our warriors and provide new technology." Nira was silent for a long time. "They destroy us, then offer to help us." Her eldest advisor, Kex, moved closer. "Your Majesty, I think that's what they call civilization." Day 35. Galactic Council Emergency Session. The meeting room on Harmony. Prime was packed. Representatives from every known species had come to hear Earth's terms. But this time, the humans were not asking for anything. This time, they were telling the galaxy how things would work. Ambassador Kane stood at the center of the room. He looked the same as before, calm and professional. But everyone knew that behind his diplomatic smile was the power to destroy worlds. "The human accord is simple," Kane said. "Any species that attacks civilians of any race will face the full military response of Earth. Any species that starts unprovoked wars will be stopped. Any species that enslaves others will be liberated." The Stellari representative Zin spoke. In her musical voice, "You're appointing yourselves as galactic police?" "We're accepting the responsibility that no one else wanted," Kane replied. "For too long, strong species have bullied weak ones. For too long, civilian populations have suffered while their leaders played power games. That ends now." The Aquari representative bubbled through his speaking apparatus. "What if we refuse to accept your authority?" Kane looked directly at him. "Then you'll join the 12 species that learned what happens when humans stop being civilized." The room was silent. "However," Kane continued, "we're not tyrants. We're offering partnership. Join the human accord. Help us maintain peace. Work with us to explore new worlds and share new technologies. The choice is yours." Day 40. Earth Command Center. Admiral Stone stood before a massive display showing the entire galaxy. Green lights marked systems that had joined the human accord. Yellow lights showed neutral systems. Red lights indicated hostile territories. Most of the galaxy was green. "Status report," she said to her staff. General Blake stepped forward. "All 12 hostile species have agreed to our terms. The Varrock Empire has released all human prisoners and paid full compensation. The Hive has freed all slaves from their territory. The others have followed suit. What about the neutral systems?" Stone asked. Fleet Commander Park consulted his datapad. 47 species have requested to join the Accord. They want protection from future aggressors and access to our technology sharing program. Director Hayes added, "Our intelligence. Networks report that piracy has dropped by 90%. No species wants to risk being labeled hostile." Stone nodded. "And our military status? All fleets are operational. The hidden installations are fully active. We have monitoring stations in every major system," General Blake reported. "If anyone even thinks about starting a war, we'll know about it." Day 50, New Geneva Reconstruction Site. Captain Lisa Park stood on the bridge of her ship, watching construction crews rebuild the destroyed colony. Human and alien workers labored side by side, replacing what had been lost. "It's strange," her first officer said. 3 weeks ago, those same aliens were trying to kill us. Now they're helping us rebuild." Lisa nodded. "Fear is a powerful teacher." Below them, Varrock engineers worked alongside human architects. Hive workers carried supplies for quarry construction teams. Former enemies were becoming reluctant partners. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving a message from the Varrock work crew leader. He wants to know if there are any human families who need homes built first." Lisa smiled. "Tell him we'll build homes for everyone at the same time. Human and alien families who want to live here peacefully." Day 60, Stellari Homeworld. Ambassador Kane walked through the crystal gardens of the Stellari capital. Beside him walked Chancellor Zinn, the same alien who had mocked human threats 2 months ago. "Your species fascinates me," Zinn said in her musical voice. "You have the power to rule the galaxy by force, but you choose to lead by example." Kane paused beside a fountain made of liquid light. "Force creates fear. Fear creates resentment. Resentment creates rebellion. We learned that lesson from our own history. But you could have simply destroyed us all," Zinn said. "Why show mercy to those who showed you none?" Kane looked at the alien leader. "Because that's what civilization means. It's not about having the power to destroy your enemies. It's about choosing not to use that power unless absolutely necessary." They walked in silence for a while before Zinn spoke again. "The galaxy is safer now than it has been in centuries. Trade is flourishing. Exploration is expanding. Wars have almost disappeared." "Good," Kane said. "That's what we wanted from the beginning." Day 75, Harmony Prime. The same meeting room where Kane had delivered Earth's ultimatum now hosted a very different gathering. Representatives from over 200 species sat around expanded tables. They were discussing trade agreements, exploration missions, and cultural exchanges, but in the center of the room sat a simple memorial. 50,000 names were carved into black stone. The names of everyone who had died on New Geneva. Ambassador Kane stood before the memorial. "We gather here today to remember why the Human Accord exists. These people died because some believed that might makes right. They died because some thought civilians were acceptable targets." He turned to face the assembled delegates. "We rebuilt this galaxy on their memory. We created peace from their sacrifice. We will never let their deaths be meaningless." The room remained silent as Kane walked back to his seat. Day 90. Deep Space Patrol. Lieutenant Mike Chun floated in his stealth ship at the edge of unexplored space. His mission had changed from spying on enemies to watching for new threats. "Command, this is Deep Scout 7. he reported. "I'm detecting signals from an unknown star system. Possible new contact." The response came back immediately. "Deep Scout. 7. Investigate and report. Remember the protocols." Mike smiled. The protocols were simple now. Make contact peacefully. Offer friendship and trade. Share technology and culture. But if the new species chose aggression, if they decided to attack civilians or start wars, they would learn the same lesson that 12 other species had learned. They would discover what humans meant when they said they were civilized. And they would understand that civilization, for humans, was always a choice. Mike set course for the unknown signals. The galaxy was vast, and there were always new species to meet. Some would choose peace. Others might choose war. But all of them would learn that in this galaxy, under human protection, civilians were safe. Wars were not allowed. And those who chose violence would face the full consequences of their actions. The human accord had brought peace to the galaxy. And humanity would make sure that peace lasted, no matter what it took.